Hello, my name is Brent Grafton. My wife and I own Green Tree Plastics, and today I would like to answer the question is why we make our products out of caps. Many years ago, when we first started our business, we had a phone call from a local company that asked us to help them with a problem they were having. They were purging their material out of their big machines into cardboard boxes. They were putting those boxes in the dumpster, and about once a week they'd have a dumpster fire. So we went over and we worked out a project with them where we would put boxes inside their plant, and they would put all their purges in those boxes, and then we'd bring them here, and we then would make product from that plastic. Well, that company, as it turns out, makes most of the caps that you are bringing back to us. So there's almost a closed loop recycling, is that you're bringing caps back to where they were, many of them were originally made. And so that is how we learned how to make products out of bottle caps. Now, several of the things that we learned from them, one is that the caps are manufactured under an FDA requirement, which means they're manufactured for food contact. That means that when the cap's done, it's going to go on something, a bottle or something that you're going to drink out of. And because of that, well, we learned from taking that scrap, I kept getting really pretty parts, caps, in the boxes with the purchase, and I finally went back and asked one of the managers why these perfect parts. Well, he said under FDA requirements, if the cap falls on the ground, if a human being touches it, it's trash. Because they cannot take a chance of having somebody's skin off their oil off their skin, contaminating the cap and then going to a customer. So from that we learned that the caps have to be made from pure virgin resin. So when they make that material, so that there is nothing in the cap that can hurt a human. So the caps themselves are all made from material that comes straight from the refiner. It's only been through the extrusion process once, maybe twice. And then it can have nothing in it that can hurt a human. In addition, the polymers that are used for food contact are high-density polyethylene, low-density polyethylene, and polypropylene. And the primary reason that those polymers are used is because they're what we call hydrophobic. They will not allow any moisture into the molecular content, into the molecules of the plastic. Whereas something like ABS or polycarbonate, items that you have in your home, like your computer terminal, those will hold something like 2% moisture. And the problem with having the ability to take moisture into plastic is that the moisture stays there, it will support pathogen growth, and whatever happens to be in the moisture can now be in the plastic. So for food contact, the high-density polyethylene, the polypropylene, and the low-density polyethylene are used because they will not let moisture into their molecular structure. So we have, when your children are handling caps, you can be assured that there is nothing in that cap that can hurt your child. And if you wash the cap, it's clean. There's nothing being held within the molecular structure of the plastic that can be harmful to your child. Furthermore, what we've learned is that when you say polymer, what you're saying is many mers. Poly is many, mer is molecule. So you're actually talking about a hydrocarbon chain that is made up of many molecules. And so that is what gives plastic its strength. When it melts, when we run it through our extrusion process and melt the plastic, all the polymer chains kind of float around, like they elongate and they float around in a matrix. And then when they, so they're all floating around in these little chains. And then when they coalesce or when they crystallize, when they set up, they all interlock back in together. And the way in which those polymer chains interlock is what gives the plastic its strength. Now, when I explained before how we melt our plastics, we do it with friction. And if you think about, if I'm doing this to polymer chains, I'm breaking up the polymer chains. So each time the plastic goes through this extrusion process, it shortens the chains up, so it makes it less strong. So one of the values of the plastic that is in your caps is that it's only been through this process no more than twice, which means they have very long polymer chains, which give them an opportunity to lock together when they cure, when they crystallize, and that's what makes your bench so strong, is going to make it last for so long. In addition, the kinds of plastics that are in the caps that you're bringing us one is polypropylene. So when the polypropylene hydrocarbon chain is melted, it's all stretched out, but then when it crystallizes, it's like a branch chain. It actually interlocks in with the plastic, which makes polypropylene a stronger plastic to use. So the high density polyethylene and the low density polyethylene, when those polymer chains are in a solid state, they are actually fold down in on top of each other. As you can see, the low density, there's a lot more room in here, whereas the high density is a little tighter, so that the low density interlocks with the high density, and then the polypropylene will interlock with both of them. And that's why the product that you have from us is so strong. Now, what we've discovered, and the reason that when you are following along with the acceptable caps list, so when you look at your item and it says number 4 on it, and this one actually says LDPE, that's the low density polyethylene. A lot of the smaller caps do not have numbers on them, but we know by testing that this cap is a high density polyethylene cap. So you have low density polyethylene, high density polyethylene, and this one also does not have a number on it, but it is going to be a number 5, which is polypropylene, and we know that because we know the guys that make these. And that's what they use to make the polymer. So you have high density polyethylene number 2, low density polyethylene number 4, and polypropylene number 5. And those are the components that we use to make your bench and to make your boards very, very strong to last a very long time. So we're starting with nearly virgin resin, as close to virgin as the recycle market gets. And then we're mixing them together in such a way that their polymer chains, long polymer chains, interlock, and that's why your bench is going to last for many, many years.